How does one choose the right psychotherapist? Now that is a question that has really, I think, troubled a lot of people. A lot of people report going to many psychotherapists and not being satisfied. Many are so confused that they just give up on therapy completely. And there are so many others who have benefited if they have gone to the right therapist. So what is a right therapist? A right therapist is somebody who is well qualified, I'll tell you the qualifications, and somebody who has some amount of experience or works under supervision for some years at least. But ideally, a therapist who has done their MA or Masters in psychology, counseling psychology or clinical psychology can definitely see clients for consultation. A person who has completed their MPhil in clinical psychology, the nomenclature of MPhil might change shortly, but a person who has done their MPhil in clinical psychology with a RCI, Rehabilitation Council of India license, is a registered and licensed clinical psychologist. This psychologist is able to handle clinical issues like OCD, like borderline personality disorder, like certain trauma or complex trauma cases, mood disorders, anxiety disorders. So anything that falls under the clinical spectrum is something that a clinical psychologist is better equipped to handle and ideally allowed to handle. While the master's psychology person is a behavioral psychologist, is able to deal with most other issues that we face in our daily lives, like career related issues or confusions about certain things, some anxiety related issues, relationship issues, some marital issues. So these are issues that the counseling psychologist or the person with a master's can handle. Okay, a person who has a PhD in psychology is more of an academic person. So PhD for us as psychologists or clinical psychologists doesn't really hold a direct link to how good or bad the person is as a therapist. So what matters most is whether the person is working with supervision, has learned to understand themselves better, how evolved the person is as a therapist because of the person's academic and professional background. So that is very important. The second qualification for a right therapist is that you and the therapist should find a connection. You should be able to connect at a similar level. There could be some therapists who are excellent for some clients and who are not so good for the others because they don't find that connection. They cannot establish a rapport with that particular therapist. So that happens because therapists are also human beings. So sometimes it's a little difficult for some therapists to form connections with particular clients. So if you find that, which is a rare occurrence but it can happen, then it is better to switch your therapist. Okay, so it doesn't fulfill your requirement, so it is better to switch your therapist.